This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? There we go. It's your boy, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy. With the New York Knicks up 23 points, I think myself and a lot of people felt like the Knicks were on their way to a victory. And we're going to return to Madison Square Garden feeling good and salvaging the West Coast trip. Instead, ladies and gentlemen, they blew a 23-point lead. They blew a 23-point lead. This was a chance for the Knicks to close the gap in the standings just a little bit on that 10th spot, build some momentum, and come home with a soft schedule, ready to ride off into the All-Star break because they have some winnable games coming up, but nothing is winnable, or games are winnable, but nothing is set in stone with the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable collapse in the fourth quarter. An unbelievable collapse. It's unthinkable. The ball, throughout the game, you saw great ball movement. Even though the Knicks got down 12 points to start the game, they stayed in it mentally. They continued to play with energy, and they continued to move the basketball. And in the fourth quarter, it came to a screeching halt. I'm talking about smoke coming off the rubber of the tires, ladies and gentlemen. A screeching halt in the fourth quarter. The Knicks couldn't do anything right. They couldn't rebound the basketball. I know they lost Mitchell Robinson, and that hurt because of his size, but they couldn't rebound the basketball. They couldn't buy a bucket. They could not stop the Portland Trailblazers from doing anything that they wanted in that fourth quarter. The New York Knicks were outscored 35-11 in the fourth quarter, folks. 35-11. It's a tough loss, bad loss for the New York Knicks, maybe the worst of the season. You can't waste good games from Kemba Walker. You're not going to get that many games where he scores 23 points and is on fire from the three-point line. You can't waste them. You need to win those games. Terrible, terrible collapse by the New York Knicks. Terrible collapse. Early in the fourth quarter, the bench came in like they normally do with the type of rotation that Tom Thibodeau uses. And this is when the run started, ladies and gentlemen. This is when the run began. And when this run started, there was no plug in the hole. There was no way to stop the leak. No one to stop the leak. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. 28 points from Julius Randle, 16 rebounds, and 6 assists. But in the fourth quarter, I'm not going to say Julius Randle played. I mean, everybody played terrible in that fourth quarter, those who did play in the fourth quarter. There was just no continuity, man. Fourth quarter, Julius Randle had 4 points. He was 2 for 4 from the field. Evan Fournier 0 for 3. Evan Fournier was off all night long. Kemba Walker was 0 for 3. He only played about 5 minutes in that fourth quarter. Alec Burks was 1 for 5. Taj Gibson. Oh, my goodness, man. Nurkic just grabbed every single rebound in that fourth quarter. He had 7 rebounds in the fourth quarter. 7 rebounds in the fourth quarter. The entire Knicks lineup. I'm not a big guy on the plus minus, but when everybody is in the minus, it tells you something. The entire Knicks lineup was in the minus in the fourth quarter, obviously, because it was such a big comeback. I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Julius Randle, 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 assists for the game. For the most part, he had a pretty good basketball game. Kemba Walker, 23 points, 2 assists. Quentin Grimes, he was hot all night long. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 6 for 10 from the field. He was 5 for 8 from the three-point line. It was Quentin Grimes. But the Knicks couldn't get anything from anyone else. Evan Fournier had 4 points. Mitchell Robinson had 2 points and 0 rebounds for the game. 2 points, 0 rebounds for Mitchell Robinson. Although his size still hurt the Knicks come down that fourth quarter. Or not having his size hurt the Knicks come down in the fourth quarter. There was nobody to, at least even if Mitchell Robinson didn't get the rebound, his size helped keep Nurkic off the glass throughout the game. And helped other people to grab rebounds in that fourth quarter. Throughout the game. Taj Gibson, he had 8 points, 7 rebounds. Alec Burks, 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Cam Reddish had 6 points. Played decent in that first half. Got snatched pretty early in the second half because Portland went on a big run. Tom Thibodeau substituted everyone, but Cam Reddish twisted his ankle during the game. He went back to the locker room and did not return. Manuel Quickly, 4 points. Obi Toppin, nothing. Jericho Sims, nothing. No rebounds for Jericho Sims either. He played good defense on Nurkic when he did get some time. For the Portland Trailblazers, people scoring all over the board for the Trailblazers, unlike the New York Knicks. The Knicks basically had 3 guys who were putting up numbers. That's about it. Trailblazers were led by Anthony Simons. He had 30 points and 8 assists. And then Josh Hart, his first start as a Portland Trailblazer, 23 points and 2 assists. Ben McLemore had 17 points. Nurkic, he had 12 points and 20 rebounds. 20 rebounds from Nurkic tonight. Justice Winslow, 14 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Hey, I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to, let me get it here really quick, Corey. He gave me a super chat earlier today, and I didn't get a chance to read it. But he warned us. He said, the Blazers beat the Lakers the last game. Do not underestimate this team. And I'm not going to say anybody underestimated them, but when the Knicks got up 23 points, I don't believe that they thought the Portland Trailblazers were going to make it back. But they did. I didn't think the Portland Trailblazers were going to make it back in. I thought the Knicks were going to ride away with this game. Let's talk about certain players. Let's talk about certain players out there. I want to begin with Emmanuel Quickly. I said it earlier. Emmanuel Quickly needs to take a seat for a little while. A lot of over dribbling from Emmanuel Quickly. It doesn't look like he knows where to go when he's out there on the floor, or he knows what he's doing, or knows what his assignments are. And it's like he's just running around, dribbling the ball, waiting to chuck up a three. He needs to take a rest. I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau's going to keep him in the lineup until Derrick Rose gets back, at least. But once Derrick Rose gets back, I know the conversation has been, does Cam Reddish come out the lineup? I feel like Emmanuel Quickley probably needs to come out the lineup right now. Because I don't see where he's being productive. And what Cam Reddish is doing and the way that he's playing, the way that he plays, just his style, it's not as dribble heavy. It's not as dominant. Plays good off the ball. He flashes to the basket. He can break down the defense with his dribble. He can penetrate through a zone. He did it tonight on at least one occasion in the first half. Penetrated through the zone. And it ended up being a turnover. But it was the process that I was thinking about. He was able to get through the zone and get in position to actually get a good shot. He chose the wrong shot, but he got himself in a position to actually get a good shot. I am big time in favor of benching Emmanuel Quickley and letting Cam Reddish take those minutes. I believe that he will produce for this team if he does. I believe that he will. I think that you can take Cam Reddish, you can play him on the ball sometimes. Mostly you're going to play him off the ball. When teams go zone, I think you can put him in the middle of the zone and he can knock down a mid-range jump shot. In the middle of that zone, he can also put it on the floor and go to the basket. I just think he's more versatile and he's more under control than Emmanuel Quickley, at least right now. At least right now. I think that's what you gotta. That's what you gotta do. I think that's what you gotta do. We'll see what Tom Thibodeau decides to do in that situation. Let's talk about Alec Burks. All right, look, Tom Thibodeau's gonna ride with him. You already know that. There's no question about it. Tom Thibodeau's gonna ride with the guy, but earlier this season when his play was up and down, I thought to myself and said it publicly, well, maybe it's because, he's been in the starting lineup. Then he's been back to the bench. He's playing point guard. He's playing shooting guard. He's playing all over the place. He's been back in his role for a little while, and still he's just up and down. I mean, we know he's a journeyman, but he's just been up and down, up and down, up and down. And on nights like tonight, his play cut off the ball movement. Not just him, no doubt about it, not just Alec Burks. But he was a big part of it, cutting off that ball movement. Pounding the ball. I seen a comment on Twitter, and it's, kind of accurate. I mean, I guess at this point, at that point of the game, what else did you have? But you got Alec Burks coming up, pounding the ball, waiting for a screen for Taj Gibson. That's the extent of the offense in the fourth quarter. Is that the extent? Is that what we want? No, come on. That's bad news. That's bad news. That cannot be the extent of your offense in the fourth quarter. And I'm not talking about early in the fourth or with 9 minutes to go, with 7 minutes to go. I'm talking about with 4 minutes or less. With 4 minutes or less. And let's talk about that. I know we're talking about Alec Burks. We're talking about players. But he's part of this, what I'm getting ready to talk about. The Knicks were clueless as to what to do or where to go in the fourth quarter. They were clueless. Because, look, the New York Knicks, they're trying to play a faster pace of basketball. But they also got to figure out, when you get in situations where the game is tight, which this one should not have been tight. It shouldn't have been tight. No two ways about it. It should not have been tight. But when you get in tight situations, they got to figure out what to do. Who do they go to? How do they figure out how to get a bucket up? They don't know how to do it yet. They were confused in the fourth quarter. They didn't know, do we go to Julius Randle in the post? Do we let Alec Burks go off the dribble? from a Taj Gibson screen, they were confused. They were lost. And the Portland Trailblazers just continued to play their style of basketball. But anyway, back to the players. Obviously, we're talking about the players. Back to the players. Let's go on over to Julius Randle. I mean, Julius Randle played a good game tonight. There's no doubt about it. You know, I'm not mad at Julius Randle. I think he had a couple of turnovers in the fourth quarter that I thought were bad. Now, one turnover in the fourth quarter for Julius Randle. You know, he had a couple of occasions where he tried to, you know, post up and go get a bucket. I think he did get one bucket where he drove to the basket, you know, late in the game off of a good play. But for the most part, Julius Randle played a good basketball game. He's been playing good during this trip. 28 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists. He was only 40% from the field. He was 0 for 4 from the three-point line. He was 12 for 13 from the free throw line. But see, what teams know, especially in the fourth quarter, Julius Randle gets the ball in that post, they're going to load up on him. They know he struggles with the double team, and he almost turned it over in that situation tonight through the double team. They know he struggles in that double team. So the Knicks and Julius Randle are reluctant to get the ball in that situation. They now want Julius Randle to catch the ball in a position where he can face up to the basket. He can see the defense and know where the double team is coming. The problem is teams are playing a zone, even when he's in that situation. So there's no cutting lanes. And I know people are saying in the chat, nobody's cutting to the basket. But I want you to understand, when teams are playing zone, it is hard to cut to the basket because teams are playing those passing lanes. You got to have a zone-oriented offense. And a zone-oriented offense is predicated on ball movement, not necessarily man movement. You can have man movement, but it's predicated on fast ball movement, good, crisp ball movement. Even in the fourth quarter, when it comes down to somebody needs to get a bucket. Because when teams are in the zone and you move the basketball, that's when the lanes open up to flash, to cut, to slice through the defense. But when you catch the ball in the high post and you turn in your face, and now you got all these people staring you down with 1 foot in the lane so that you can't go. They're also in the passing lanes. It makes it hard. The ball has to keep moving. It has to keep moving, make the zone shift. I thought the Portland Trailblazers did a good job of coming in and out of zone defenses and man defenses, a little bit of full court pressure. You're seeing in the first half, they threw out a little bit of a 2-2-1 full court press. The Knicks didn't turn it over, but you don't necessarily have to force a turnover when you go into a press. Right? That press is set up to take a team out of their rhythm, make them use up seconds off the shot clock, see if they can throw up a bad shot. Almost just as good as a turnover. Maybe even better. Because if you're successful and teams are throwing up bad shots, long shots, whatever it is, now you get them out of their rhythm. The Portland Trailblazers did a good job of mixing up defenses all night long. And obviously they did a good job of not giving up. They didn't stop playing. They kept playing hard. Feeling as if they would have a chance. But the Knicks still haven't figured out how to crack that zone defense. In the first half they did because Kemba Walker was knocking down threes. Kemba Walker was 4 for 8 from the three-point line tonight. Right? So the New York Knicks, they were able to crack that zone. In the second half, though, that three-point shooting came to a halt. Knicks weren't knocking down shots. Well, in the fourth quarter. End of the third, into the fourth quarter. And then the ball movement stopped. And the Knicks were confused on how to deal with the zone. Something they got to figure out. Something Julius Randle has to figure out, too. Even though you're not taking bad shots or whatever it is, when teams are playing a zone, you just can't hold the ball. It has to move, especially when teams are playing a zone. Let's talk about Quentin Grimes, man. Quentin Grimes tonight, again, 20 points, 4 rebounds. The kid is money. He's money. He was a big reason that the Knicks built that 23-point lead. He was 5 for 8 from the three-point line, knocking down shots, playing gritty defense. 2 steals tonight for Quentin Grimes. He's just there all the time, and he's tough. He's just there. And he's solid. You know, he's going to knock down a shot. He's going to have off nights, no doubt about it, but he's going to knock down shots. You know he's going to knock down shots. You know, real solid game from Quentin Grimes tonight. Real solid game. You know, you can look forward to a lot of big things from Quentin Grimes, and I'm gonna tell you what, for the Evan Fournier fans that are out there, I believe if the New York Knicks find a suitor for Evan Fournier at the trade deadline, during the draft, the trade deadline passed, during the draft, during the summer, he's out of there. He's out of there because Quentin Grimes can step into that spot, play better defense, can knock down threes, he can cut off the basket, he can knock down mid-range shots, or at least he looks good pulling them. He hasn't been really consistent there yet, but he looks good pulling them. He looks like he'll be able to knock down mid-range shots. He's not afraid of the moment. He can fit in that slot nicely next to RJ, in my opinion. You know, RJ and Grimes there playing defense on, you know, opposing teams' 2s and 3s. That's nice. That's real nice. You know what I mean? And, you know, Quentin Grimes is going to be ready. Now, a 25 pick, ladies and gentlemen. The 25th pick. Everybody knows what he was coming out of high school. You know, he's ballyhooed coming out of high school. Had a rough start to his college career. Found his footing. And now he's already finding his footing in the NBA. I seen a picture earlier today with Quentin Grimes, Ray Allen, and Reggie Miller. You know, he chose and wanted that picture for a reason because he knows he could be a guy that's following suit. We'll see. But he could be a guy that's following suit, man. Could be a guy. I thought Jericho Sims played some good minutes, although he didn't grab a rebound. I thought he played some good minutes tonight. Played some tough defense. The dude is just a block out there. Nurkic couldn't move him. He even got hit in the face with a mad elbow, and he didn't move. He didn't even grimace. Elbow, bomb. He didn't grimace. You know what I mean? He just took it. Nurkic got the offensive foul, comes back down. I still don't believe he's going to get a lot more minutes, right? It's still going to be Taj Gibson. But maybe he could have helped us in that fourth quarter. Even if he wasn't grabbing rebounds, just his big body, his size, his ability to jump might have kept Nurkic off the boards because he was dominating the glass. Taj Gibson looked like a little kid. I don't know if you ever been to a gym and you got the big kid who's grabbing rebounds and the little kid jumping on his back trying to get the rebound. That's what Taj Gibson looked like. All the Knicks looked like to Nurkic in the fourth quarter. But maybe Jericho Sims would have had enough size and enough strength to move Nurkic out the way. And we already know he could jump. So even if he didn't have that size and strength, his ability to jump might have made a big difference in that fourth quarter because there were plenty of rebounds that Taj Gibson could have had that he just couldn't get over Nurkic. And I know he had 3 dunks today, but, you know, he's 6'9", 6'10". He's supposed to dunk it. He can't jump that high. Jericho Sims, he knows how to box out, and he can jump. His big body might have helped. It might have helped grab some rebounds because that was a big reason that the Knicks got demolished in that fourth quarter, especially come down the stretch. They couldn't grab rebounds. No offensive rebounds. They couldn't grab defensive rebounds. They were allowing the Trailblazers to just grab rebounds over them. Just grab rebounds over them. And then, of course, this leads me to Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people peed off about Tom Thibodeau. every game there's people peed off about Tom Thibodeau and, his rotations and what have you. Right there in the fourth quarter, Tom Thibodeau decided he had seen enough of the subs, of the bench players, and he took them out. He did a platoon substitution. That's what they call it, platoon substitution, where you take out all 5 players and you bring in new 5 players. So he brought the starters in, figuring he was going to be able to, get the game back under control. And they tried. I don't think it was for a lack of energy. It was for a lack of synergy. 2 different things. Right? But, I think a lot of people are going to say maybe he should have tried a little bit more mixing and matching instead of just making a platoon substitution. Obviously, you were down Mitch, so you couldn't bring in Mitch. Cam Reddish went out. I've seen people on Twitter and things saying, well, why didn't he keep Cam Reddish in for Evan Fournier? Well, Cam Reddish had to go out. That's not to say that he would have kept him in there. And his thinking was probably, hey, the starting lineup was playing really well, and maybe they can come back in and stop the bleeding. I don't know who else he would have mixed and matched, right? He did the Alec Burks thing for Kemba Walker coming down that last 4 minutes of the game. He couldn't bring in Cam Reddish because he went back to the locker room. I don't know who else you're bringing in there for that wing position. Who else you're bringing in there? You know what I mean? So he rocked out with Evan Fournier those last 4 minutes. Now, the question is, if Cam Reddish was healthy and didn't get hurt, would he have brought Cam Reddish in those last 4 minutes? Probably not. I'm not going to lie to you. Probably not. You know what I mean? So I think he should have tried to go with Jericho Sims down the stretch rather than Taj Gibson. And I know that Jericho Sims doesn't have the same, experience that Taj Gibson has, but he does have the talent, and he does have natural gifts that Taj Gibson just does not have. So I think it might have been a smart move to go with to go with Jericho Sims down the stretch rather than Taj Gibson, because Taj Gibson just could not rebound. And it was clear. You could see it. I'm sure Tom Thibodeau could see it too. Right? He just could not rebound the basketball. So that's one move I think I would have done. I would have went with Jericho Sims down the stretch. Other than that, I don't know who else. I'm not going to go with IQ. I just talked about IQ and what he's doing out there, so I wasn't going to go with IQ. Can't go with IQ. He's not playing good. You almost had no choice but to go with Evan Fournier and Alec Burks. Nobody else to put out there. People are going to say he could have went with McBride. If you're talking down the stretch in the fourth quarter, I don't think you're going to bring McBride in down the stretch in the fourth quarter after he hadn't played all game. Right? I think that would have been malpractice too. You've seen him do that in the playoffs with Frank Ntilikina against Trae Young. Right? Brought him in the game down the stretch. For a last shot against Trae Young, he got smoked. And then, people get mad. Some people get mad at Frank Ntilikina. Saying you got to make that stop. Well, it's kind of hard when you're cold and your body's not stretched and this and that and the fourth. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just a tough loss for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Tough loss for the New York Knicks. I like the way that the Portland Trailblazers play. Not going to lie to you. I know in the NBA you don't see much full court pressure because teams are supposed to be, their basketball IQ is high. So you don't see that type of thing as much. I think you should. Because I believe that there are a lot of players, there are a lot of teams in the NBA that would not be able to handle a full court press. Can you do it the entire game? Nope. You can't. But I think there's a lot of guys out there that would be confused and probably turn the ball over a whole heck of a lot. I think the Trailblazers do a good job with the lineup, with the group that they have out there, mucking up the game, just making it, kind of scrappy, making the offensive teams think a little bit. And with the way they switch up defense and all that kind of stuff, they played a good basketball game. Big shout out to Chauncey Billups, for having his team play that style and that type of basketball. Kind of, almost like a college team a little bit with the style. I see people, saying in the chat, the Knicks lost to a G League team and stuff. No, they didn't lose to a G League team. You got some legitimate NBA players on that team. Did they lose to a great team? No. Did they lose to a team with a losing record? Yes, but it's not a G League team. Say what you want. I'm not, come on. Anthony Simons is not a G League player. Nurkic is not a G League player. Josh Hart is not a G League player. Should the Knicks have lost this game? Hell no. Hell no. The Knicks go 1-4 on the West Coast trip, ladies and gentlemen. 1-4 on the West Coast trip. And for anyone who's not paying attention or been living under a rock or with pillow over your eyes or whatever you're doing, they had double-digit leads in just about all of these games. Just about all of these games, they have double-digit leads. They had a double-digit lead over the Los Angeles Lakers. They go 1-3 on the West Coast trip. I'm sorry. Whatever the number is. They won one game and they lost more. But they had a double-digit lead, a 21-point lead versus the Los Angeles Lakers. 21-point lead. They had a 12-point lead against the Utah Jazz. Twice. Once in the first half, once in the second half. 12-point leads. They lost that game. They got blown out by the Denver Nuggets. Oh, yeah, they go 1-4. I'm sorry. Blown out by the Denver Nuggets. Then they come back and they beat the Golden State Warriors. Have a 23-point lead against the Portland Trailblazers. And they lose it. They lose it. Most people are going to look and say this team should have been 4-1 on this trip. The Knicks are going to say that to themselves. But they also got to look at themselves and say, why do we keep losing these leads? Why are we not executing in tight moments? Why? And, people can talk about how the NBA is a game of runs and, it's much harder nowadays to keep a 20-plus point lead. I don't give a damn. If you have a 20-plus point lead, you should hold it. You got to be able to hold that joint. Come on, man. You got to be able to hold it, especially against a team that is kind of depleted. And they play hard. They just beat the Los Angeles Lakers, like my man said in the super chat. They play hard, no doubt about it. I'm not discounting that. But come on, man. I don't want to hear anything about three-point shooting in the NBA. So those leads aren't safe and this and that. Play some damn defense. Get some damn stops. Grab some damn rebounds. And you can hold on to that 21, 23-point lead. It's no excuses to me. It's no excuses to me. And people are going to want to blame the coach because the team blew a 21-point lead or whatever it is. I'm going to tell you what. This is the way that I feel about it. And I guess I'm speaking to you from a coach and, whatever you want to say. But if you built a 21-point lead, a lot of times that means that the plan that you put in place worked. You built a 21-point lead. That plan worked. And if you blow that lead, a lot of times that's on the players. What's on the coaches? What's on when you're in tight games? Those adjustments, it's on the coach. The play calls, that's on the coach. Now, the lack of execution, to me, is also on the coach, right? Because that's your job. Your job as a coach is to demand execution and put the right things in place to allow the team and ensure that the team executes. And if the players just can't do it, then you put in players that can. And if you don't have players that can, then it's on the front office to go get players that can execute. This team has shown that it can execute, but they can't execute in the fourth quarter. They can't execute down the stretch. Now, some of these games should have not come down the stretch. But when you have a 20-something point lead, to me, that means you executed a plan. You were prepared. You executed that plan that you prepared for. And then somewhere along the line, those players dropped the ball. Now, once that ball is dropped and the coach sees that the players are dropping the ball, now the coach has to step in. I thought Tom Thibodeau tried to step in. He made that platoon substitution. It didn't work. And people are going to say, you got to make some adjustments down the stretch. I don't think the Portland Trailblazers really made any adjustments. People are going to talk about adjustments. They didn't make any adjustments, in my opinion. They just continued to play hard. They continued to play hard. They played the zone defense throughout the game. So, people say, well, they went zone. They played zone throughout the game. Right? They played zone throughout the game, and the Knicks were busting that zone open throughout the game. The fourth quarter, of course, they played tighter defense. Every team plays tighter defense. I just thought that they continued to play hard, and in the fourth quarter, when they realized and recognized that they were going on a run, their energy level picked up, and the Knicks' energy level dipped. How does the coach make an adjustment for the player's energy level dipping? Somebody explain that to me, because I don't know. Explain that to me. I don't know how to do that as a coach. Right? I don't know when a player's energy level falls, I can't pick that player's energy level up. I can scream, holler, and yell. There's nothing that I can do, really. That player has to pick up their energy level. And I thought the Portland Trailblazers wanted the game more down the stretch. And then the Knicks just got confused in the fourth quarter and didn't know where to go with the ball. Right? Now, okay, I can say there. I can say right there, that's on the coach. That's on the coach. When you realize and you see in the game that the players don't know where to go or what to do, you call a timeout, you call a play. And you say, this is the play that we need to do right now. You go out and execute that play. Shout out to Korean Jones, man. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you very much. Ayub Montan, he said, do you even want to win anymore? What's the point? Yes, I want to win. That's just me. I want to win. Right? I want to win the basketball game. We have young players that I want them to learn learning winning. And this might sound crazy to some people, but learning winning doesn't always mean the scoreboard is in your favor. Right? Learning winning is about preparation, preparing, obviously doing the things to take care of your body. How do you the Knicks are still in it mathematically, of course. They're still close to that 10th seed, right? How do you prepare in these type of situations? How do you take care of your body? How do you, do you go out and party? Do you go out the night? All of those type of things. How do you get your shot back? All of those things, to me, are ingredients to winning. Not just the scoreboard, but those things are also ingredients to winning. And you hope and pray. I don't know if I should put pray in there, but you hope that as you're doing these things and you're getting better as a team and you're learning to execute, it starts to translate to the scoreboard being in your favor. But to me, when you just throw it out the window and you say, well, we're not even going to try to win, well, then you're sending a bad message to the players on your team, especially the young players. Now, if you want to say play the young guys out there, that's not a problem to me. That's not a problem to me at all. You know what I mean? But when you say something like, what's the point of trying to win? I mean, even if you got young players out there, the coaching staff, the players, they're going to try to win that basketball game. Phrase it differently. Just say play the young guys. Okay? Cool. All right, I don't care. Play the young guys. It don't matter to me who's out there on the floor playing for real. Right? There's many different ways of development. You know, many different ways of development. But, yes, you try to win every basketball game that you're in. To me, anytime you're playing. Now, if you are front office and you want to say we're just going to rock with the young guys, then you set up a situation where you only have young guys out there, but those guys go out there to try to win. That's the way that I see it. But where the New York Knicks are right now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, they had a nice situation set up and they were one quarter away from executing that situation. Right? If they win this game, you just beat the Golden State Warriors, and then you would have beat the Portland Trailblazers if they would have won. Right? They would have beat the Portland Trailblazers, and that if they would have won this game, and I hate saying it like that, they would have been 26-31. Right? 5 games below 500. And, you know, right now they're 2 games behind the Atlanta Hawks. They would have been like a game behind the Atlanta Hawks or something like that. Coming home to play OKC. They've got the Brooklyn Nets who are struggling. They've lost 10 in a row. Somebody else, I don't remember who else is on the schedule. But a game that most people would say is winnable. But now you put yourself in a situation again, right? Now you're 7 games below 500. The Knicks are 25-32. A game and a half behind the Washington Wizards. 2 games behind the Atlanta Hawks. Right? You come home, you play OKC. And see how everything changes, right, when you lose. The way that you look at things changes big time. It's crazy. It's a weird phenomenon. Very weird phenomenon with the way things change based on your mood or certain situations. Because if the Knicks would have won this game, everyone would have said, okay, you win this game. Now you got 2 winnable games at home. You play Oklahoma City. You play the Brooklyn Nets. And then you go on break for the All-Star game. That's what the outlook would have been if the Knicks won these 2 games. But now the outlook is different. It's like, man, you just lost to the Portland Trailblazers. Now you come back home. You play OKC, a team that already beat you. And then you play the Brooklyn Nets, who pretty soon they're going to break that 10-game losing streak, right? That's the thinking now. Ain't it funny how, you know, it can switch over just that quick? You know, first it seems like it's something good. Now all of a sudden it's like, shush. We in trouble, which we are in trouble, but because, and the reason why is because you look and you hope that the Knicks were turning something around, and then they blow this, and you know that they can lose to OKC, you know they can lose to Brooklyn, and if they do lose those 2 games, you got Miami, Philadelphia, and Philadelphia coming up next, and Phoenix. So that's where it goes. That's where it goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it goes. Tough situation. The New York Knicks lose to the Portland Trailblazers 112-103. And I'm sorry, it says 114 on my screen. It should be 112-103. We'll get that changed in just a second. But they lose to the Portland Trailblazers. A tough loss. You guys see the game. I don't think I need to explain it to you once again. The Knicks get demolished on the boards, especially in the fourth quarter. Demolished. 20 29 assists for the Portland Trailblazers, only 19 for the New York Knicks. 3 steals for the Blazers, 6 for the Knicks, 2 blocks for the Blazers, 6 blocks for the New York Knicks. 15 turnovers for the Blazers, 12 turnovers for the Knicks. The Knicks shot 38.3% from the field. The Blazers shot 47.6% from the field. 30.8% from the three-point line for the Knicks. In the first half, the Knicks were on fire from the three-point line. At least Kemba Walker was and Grimes was. Second half, the Knicks, fourth quarter, the Knicks couldn't buy a bucket. Only 11 points in that fourth quarter. They shot 30.8% for the game. The Blazers, 37.5%. The Knicks, 85%. Both teams, 85% from the line. The Knicks got killed in the paint. 48 points in the paint for the Portland Trailblazers. Only 28 for the New York Knicks. Second chance points, the Knicks 13, the Blazers 12. And on the break, both teams had 16 points on the break. Let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hey, Sam and Mike from North Carolina, man.
What's going on, man?
I'm concerned, it was the fourth quarter. Basically, Portland just shot over Taj. Simple to me. That was the game for me right there.
Say that again? I missed it. I missed what you said.
When Nurkic just basically shot over Taj in the fourth quarter when Robinson went out, that was the game for me.
Yeah, Taj Gibson had a tough go at it in the fourth quarter, man. You know what I mean? Real tough go at it in the fourth quarter. There was nothing he could do with Nurkic. The size factor was, like I said earlier, it just looked like a little kid jumping on a big kid's back with Taj Gibson trying to grab those rebounds. And, Nurkic just, had his way down there, moved him out the way, did what he did.
To your point about these 20-point leads, during the season or before this month, whatever, this half of the season, it will, what I said before, third quarter collapses. Now it's like they're starting to creep back up, but mostly so far this season, it seems like the fourth quarter, we have to put together a fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, to be honest, but
I mean, someone in the chat said, it started in the third, and it did kind of start in the third quarter, right? Started towards the end of the third quarter. You had the starting group out there, and they had built a nice lead. I think, they built a 23-point lead, the Knicks did, and then substitutions started to come in, right? So at 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the third quarter, the Knicks were up 82-59. 82-59. And at that time, I don't think a substitution had been made yet. No, you did have Taj Gibson come in for Mitchell Robinson because Mitchell Robinson was hobbling around the court.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He was hobbling around the court. But with 4 minutes and whatever seconds left to go in the third quarter, 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the third quarter, the Knicks were up 82-59.
Okay, because someone on Portland went to the line because of some offensive, some foul, because there was a sequence, I feel like saying the fourth quarter, where the Knicks, as far as the shot selection, I mean, they just started chucking up threes, and I'm saying to myself, no, challenge the defense, go into the paint.
Right.
And that's what Portland did.
Well, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, the Knicks were up 20, 3:39. The Knicks are still up 17. And now the substitutions come in. The Knicks are up 15 points. The substitutions come in. Burks comes in for Walker. Reddish comes in for Fournier. Robinson comes in for Gibson. Right? And actually, the lead still kind of, they get it back up to an 18-point lead. Then it stays around 17. Then it goes back up to 18. And it kind of teeters, stays, and then it's at 15. And you expect that the Portland Trailblazers are going to go on a bit of a run. Right? But then at the top of the fourth quarter, the entire bench was in, and then this is where the run really gets crazy. Right? It gets down to 10. right? It gets down.
To that point, I was going to say, as a Knicks fan, like, no, God, not again.
Right. It gets down to 10. Tom Thibodeau then brings in Grimes for Burks, Fournier for Reddish, Kemba for Toppin, and Randall for Quickly. Obviously, it's a little bit different than that. They bring it back up to 12. It goes to 10. They get it back to 11. Then it's 12. And then from there, they run away with it. From there, they run away with it. Couldn't stop the bleeding.
Go ahead. Yeah, because I was going to say, because after Portland's victory over the Lakers, I'm saying, whoa, please let these guys have a bad game against us. From what I saw, Portland, they seem to be all right. I wouldn't, if I was Dame Lillard, I wouldn't want to wish to be traded, to be honest, because they're young.
Yeah, they're a young team. They're definitely a young team, and they're going to be the type of team that plays hard and scrappy. The Portland Trailblazers are trying to build something that they're going to have ready for when Dame Lillard comes back, right? And, how do you do that? What do? You build a team that's scrappy, can battle defensively, can rebound the basketball, can do all of those little things. And then Damian Lillard comes back, and obviously he can put the ball in the bucket. He can put pressure on the defense. You may be missing another guy, but if you have those pieces around, and you can put together a tough season and maybe be a 500 team or something like that, then you can find a way to get another guy there. Because
now,
of the style
Knicks
of play.
are a relatively young team too, right?
They are. Relatively young team. The Knicks, the average age of the New York Knicks is like 26 years old. That's the average age of the team, the entire team, right? And the average age of the rotation players depends on who's in the rotation at the time. For example, if Derrick Rose is out, Nerlens Noel is out, and you got Quentin Grimes and Taj Gibson in there, then the combined age of the rotation players is like 27 years old, right? And then if Nerlens Noel is back and Derrick Rose is in the lineup, then the combined age is like 26, close to 27. You know what I mean? So that's about the combined age of the New York Knicks and their rotations. You know what I mean? So obviously they're rotational pieces. And the reason why I know this is because I did the calculations last night, right? I was in an argument with somebody and we were talking about the average age of the Knicks and the average age of their rotations, the rotational players. And, kind of the team, the average age is 26. The average age of the rotational players is somewhere around 27, depending on who's in there. You know what I mean? And then, of course, if it's Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson, because Nerlens Noel is out, then the average age goes up to like 29. But for the most part, your real rotation, the average age is 27. With your real rotation, that's with Derrick Rose in and Taj Gibson out, and Nerlens Noel is in there. It's about 27 years old. I mean, that's not too bad. The average age in the league is 26.
No, that's still good. When I think about energy with the Knicks, Toppin, Rose, and what's the ones that injured? Number 9. It's bad to be old. I can't remember my name. This is embarrassing.
Who are you talking about?
Number 9.
Oh, RJ.
Yeah, those Knicks I just mentioned, they're the only ones to me that seem to have real energy, as if they could really run up and down the court. They could have at least have some type of running game. When I see the current starting lineup, it's like average. That's the best way I could describe it. But sometimes, there's no energy there.
Yeah, all season long, the Knicks have had inconsistent energy issues, right? Sometimes they're on the floor and they got crazy energy, and then they'll hit a lull where they don't have energy at all, and they just look like they're lumbering out there on the floor. And that happened tonight. You know what I mean? They hit a point where I think they thought the game was wrapped up and they were ready to get back to New York. And the Portland Trailblazers said, it's not happening that easy here, not in Rip City. So, but Mike, I think
never underestimate a Portland team as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I've learned that over the years.
Matter
of fact, real quick, and I'll let you go. After this 4-game homestand, we go back to the West and but we play the Clippers, the Suns, and one more West team, right?
Yeah, let me see. The Knicks have a 1-2-3 game homestand. Actually, hold up. The Knicks play. Let me go back. Yeah, it's a 4-game homestand. Oklahoma, Brooklyn, Miami, Philadelphia. And then they go to Philadelphia. And then they play Phoenix, LA, Sacramento, Dallas. So, yeah, they're about to hit another West Coast trip. Phoenix, LA, Sacramento, Dallas, Memphis. And then they go to Brooklyn. So after the Knicks are home for 4 games, then they're going to be away for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And those games are Phoenix, Clippers, Sacramento, Dallas, Memphis, and Brooklyn.
You want to speculate on that West Coast swing?
Oh, man.
Considering what has changed?
I'm going to tell you what. I think the Knicks can beat the Clippers. I'm not sure about the Sacramento team with the way that they've changed. That's going to be a tough game, I think. I think the Kings are going to play up-tempo. I always felt like the Kings were kind of a matchup problem for the Knicks, especially when De'Aaron Fox is playing. Now they got Sabonis. They got some other shooters out there. You got De'Aaron Fox still. I think that's going to be a problem. I'm not confident about that game. I think they can beat the Mavs. I don't like playing against the Grizzlies.
That's what I was thinking. The Grizzlies, and I'm really shocked the Pacers gave up Sabonis, man. So obviously that was a situation of money with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think they're just trying. I think the Pacers are just trying to break their team down completely and restart. So okay. Yeah. Listen, with Phoenix, I think that's probably a loss. I think they could beat the Clippers. I think the Kings could be a loss. I think they could beat the Mavericks, and I think the Memphis Grizzlies could be a loss on that West Coast trip. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate your time, Mike.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
No doubt. Be peaceful. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are. This is where we are, folks. This is where we are. I don't know. When you just look at everybody, I think all of the Knicks fans wanted to have something to look forward to, feeling like maybe this team could pull something together. And I know it's just one loss. They got a lot of games left. Not a whole lot of games left, but they got enough games left. Although the schedule is tough, they got enough games left where they could pull something together. And if I'm Coach Tom Thibodeau, I'm pissed off that we gave up a lead. And I'm talking with them about keeping leads. They know it, but I'm still having that conversation. But I'm also going to talk about some good things that we've seen on the West Coast trip. You have to do that if you're a coach. And fans don't want to hear that. They're like, yeah, whatever, blase, blase, blah. What, coach speak, this, that, and the third. I get it. I understand. But you have to do that. You have to look at some of the things that they did well. The reasons why they built those double-digit leads. Why did they build those double-digit leads? Because they played with pace. Right? They played with good pace. The ball was moving. It didn't move in this fourth quarter. They had a lapse. They went backwards. They regressed in that fourth quarter. The key for the team now is, okay, how do we make sure when we play Oklahoma City in a couple of days that we don't regress and play a slower dribble type of pace against Oklahoma City? How do we keep up this fast pace? And how do we extend this type of play throughout the game and not just in certain quarters? Right? This has to be what the Knicks, what the players, what they're looking at is how do they extend that play? because they did some good things. I thought they did some really good things in the pace of play, the style of play. Again, talking about Julius Randle, you've seen it tonight. He's doing a lot of facing up, facing the defense, making it very hard for defenses to send a double team, because if they do, he can see the double team. So many times in the past, Julius Randle, he'd get the ball in the post, and then when he'd get the ball in the post, the double team was coming from a place where he couldn't see, or he just wasn't equipped to see. And when I say equipped, I'm talking about him as a player, knowing the game that well or having that kind of court awareness. But when he's able to face up, he can see it much better. And I think it's helping Julius Randle. So that's something very positive, in my opinion, that we've seen throughout this stretch of basketball for the New York Knicks. All right. Listen, they're not going to, the Knicks, it's not like their pace went up to number 1 in the league. But over the last 5 games, the Knicks had the 15th best pace in the league. But this is coming from a team that was down towards the bottom. All right, let's put it like this. The Minnesota Timberwolves, over the last 5 games, had the fastest pace in the league at 103.1. All right, the Knicks, over these last 5 games, were at 99.23. All right, now they went 1-4 over that stretch, of course. But the pace is up. And by comparison, the Dallas Mavericks play the slowest pace in the league over the last 5 games at 93.1. But what's funny about that is that the Dallas Mavericks are 4-1 in that stretch. Whatever. So obviously pace doesn't mean everything, but for this Knicks team, pace means a lot. In my opinion, I think they play better offensively. They don't think. They get the ball around better. So pace does mean a lot, in my opinion, for this Knicks team. We'll see if they can continue to keep that pace up and make it even better. Some good jokes going around in the chat. I see someone say Nerlens Noel's real age is 40. Or the same thing about Todd Gibson, his real age is 40. I know, I get it. Listen. Nerlens Noel, I don't know what's going on with him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him with a cane the next time he steps on the floor. You know what I'm saying? He probably, who knows when the next time he's going to step on the floor. For real. And, of course, Todd Gibson, tonight he looked old because he couldn't rebound over Nurkic. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time, man. And it's a tough send-off, man. But you know what? It is what it is. It ain't going to ruin my weekend. I'm still going to go enjoy myself. Hopefully you go enjoy yourself for the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow, relax, watch the Super Bowl, all that good stuff, and get ready for work on Monday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I'm heading out. Probably won't do a shoot around tomorrow, but I'll definitely be back on Monday. Looking at the Knicks schedule. Do they play on Monday? I'm not sure. They play Oklahoma City next. I'm going to look at it right now and see what that schedule is and when exactly they play, just to make sure. Well, I'm saying it so that I know, so I remember, because I got basketball games and things that I got to coach. Yes, the Knicks play on Monday, Oklahoma City, 7:30 p.m. at Madison Square Garden. Then they play the Brooklyn Nets on February the 16th at Madison Square Garden. And then they go on a break for about 9 days for the All-Star break. Not one Knick in the All-Star game. The only person that's going to be representing for All-Star weekend is Obi Toppin, slam dunk contest. So make sure that you check that out. And yeah, we will have a slate of shows for All-Star weekend. Now, we're getting that together now. So just be on the lookout for those notifications when they come out. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to rock up out of here. The Knicks lose to the Trailblazers 112-103 in painful fashion, very painful fashion, as they blow a 23-point lead. 23-point lead, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, if you're not a member, Feel free to join if you like. On February the 27th, for anyone who is a member, you're going to get the opportunity to join me and some other people in the panel on watching the game virtually together. All right? You got to be a member to have that opportunity. Still, even through the members, it's going to be a limited number of people that are able to join in. And the link will be posted in my community section on YouTube. All right, so you'll be able to click on that link and join us. All right, so I hope to see you there if you're a member. But ladies and gentlemen, again, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peaceful, spread love. Don't let this loss get you down. You got more important things to worry about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.